Ecology and Nature Documentary by Ashley Kilgore. Welcome to the forest. Before we can get into our animal observations, we first have to learn a couple key concepts about ecology and the way that animals interact with their environment. First, we'll go over the first and second laws of thermodynamics. The first law is that energy cannot be created or destroyed, it can only change in form. The second law is that entropy either stays consistent or increases, never decreasing. As energy is consumed, some of it will be lost as heat. And in animals, the consumed energy can also be lost to the animal's functions as well as creating biomass. More on this later. Our three main types of consumers are going to be our herbivores, like our elephants, pandas, and caterpillars. Our carnivores, like our big cats, our wolves, and our hyenas. And then our omnivores, like our raccoons and black bears and people. And then we also have decomposers, which are going to break down dead organic matter. Lastly, for our basic concepts, I'm going to talk about food webs versus food chains. Here you can see a berry goes to a deer to a wolf to a mushroom. This is a straight line. On our second example, you can see that it's much more convoluted and more complicated. More animals are involved and more are eating multiple animals. If you'd guess that the top one would be the food chain and the bottom one would be the food web, you'd be correct. The chain is more like a straight line and the web is more interconnected like, well, a web. Food webs are an overall more accurate depiction of how an ecosystem would actually function. Alright, now let's head back to the forest for our animal observations. But wait, let me get ready first. Okay, ready. Now we'll just wait in the bushes for an animal to appear.
4 hours later.
Still nothing yet. Oh my gosh, wait, is that a deer? Oh, he's coming closer. Oh my gosh, what a beautiful creature. I've never been so close to a deer. Is that a mountain lion? Oh my god! I gotta get out of here very quietly. That was a close encounter, whew! But I made it back to my bungalow. So now let's talk about what we saw. Hello, listeners. Welcome back to the podcast, The Biome Breakdown. Today, we're going to talk about some things that we saw in the forest. It was totally crazy. So we saw this sweet little deer get eaten by a mountain lion, and it was so sad, but it got me thinking about how energy is transferred through ecosystems. So we saw that only 10% of the energy from the deer got transferred to the mountain lion. But why is that? It's because of Linneman's law and trophic efficiency. Also because of the thermodynamics laws that we discussed earlier. In the energy pyramid, you can see that as the pyramid gets smaller, the energy consumed decreases. Only 10% of energy is transferred from one trophic level to the next, because energy is lost as heat, and animals also consume a lot of energy to maintain their functions and create biomass. Primary producers have the most available energy, while apex predators have the least. So even though we obviously watched the mountain lion consume the whole deer pretty much, he didn't get all the energy from the deer because the deer had already either lost most of the energy or used it for himself. What a selfish little deer. Now it's time to hear from some of our listeners. You know the number, just call in.
Hello, long-time listener, first-time caller.
Thanks for coming on the show. What's your name?
My name is Ashley.
Nice to meet you, Ashley. Can you tell us a little bit about your favorite animal?
Nice to meet you. My favorite animal is definitely the North American black bear. They're in the phylum Chordata, the class Mammalia, and the order Carnivora.
Tell us a bit about them.
They are omnivores, and they really like to eat berries and insects, among other things.
Give us some fun facts.
Some fun facts about them would be that they can run over 35 miles per hour, and they can live over 25 years, which is a long time. Another fun fact would be there's been a lot of famous people who have had pet black bears, even though that's not very ethical, but some of the most notable being Theodore Roosevelt, one of the American presidents. He had a pet black bear that actually lived with him in the White House. And another famous person who had a pet black bear would be Lord Byron. He was one of Mary Shelley's really good friends. You probably know her from being the author of Frankenstein.
Well, thanks for coming on the show. You were great.
Yeah, thank you for having me on the show. You're like the best host in the world. I religiously watch your podcast.
It's time for you to go now.
Oh, okay. Well, bye. It was nice to meet you.
Well, we got our first call out of the way. Let's see who's next. Welcome to the Biome Breakdown. Can I get your name and your favorite animal?
Hello, my name is Landon, and my favorite animal is Bitis gabonica, also more commonly known as the gaboon viper. They fall under the phylum Chordata, class Reptilia, order Squamata, and suborder Serpentes.
What role does your animal play in the food chain?
Well, you see, these animals are apex predators, which means that in their ecosystem, they consume other animals, and nothing preys upon them.
Tell us a fun fact about your animal.
These are the largest vipers in Africa, and they have highly potent venom.
If you ever encountered this animal in the wild, how would you react?
I'd be shocked for sure, and I would get to a safe distance and admire them.
Give us an example of how you'd react.
Okay, I would probably be like, "Oh my freaking god! Oh my god, dude! That's literally a kaboom viper! Oh my freaking god!"
Well, wasn't that something?
Thank you for having me on the show. It was really fun. I can't wait to do this again. You're an amazing host, amazing questions. Have a great day. See you later.
I always love hearing my audience's praises because I know it's all true. All right, let's see. Who's next? Welcome.
Hello, it is so good to be here. My name is Emily Alvarado, and my favorite animal is a pig belonging to the kingdom Animalia, the phylum Chordata, and the class Mammalia.
Tell us about them.
So, pigs are consumers, more so secondary consumers, but they can also be prey to wolves or bigger cats and humans as well.
Tell us some fun facts.
One fun fact about pigs is that they are super smart. You can train them to learn tricks, and overall, they're just one of the smartest animals, I think, on the planet.
How would you react if you saw a pig in the wild?
If I saw a pig out in public, I would react in two ways. I'd be in awe because I think that they're super cute, but at the same time, I'd be very concerned as to why I would see a pig out randomly in the streets of Houston.
Well, that's very insightful. Thanks, Emily.
Thank you so much for having me. You were a great host. I'm looking forward to be back on here again soon. Thank you.
Well, what an amazing episode today. Thank you to everybody who came on, and thank you all for listening to the Biome Breakdown.